All right. Okay, let's go ahead and get started. My name is Brittany. I am with Career Services, and I'm going to be your host today. We have 5 great schools coming to speak to you about their nursing program. So we're super excited to have you, super excited to have them. Yeah, so just want to let you know, go ahead and mute yourself if you're not already. We're going to let them speak and present first. And then if you have any questions, please feel free to put them in the chat box for me. And if you don't mind, please also check out the chat box. I'm going to put a link to a survey in there. Basically, I just need you to sign in. And if you want to get more information from schools after they give their presentations today, they'll reach out to you. So you have the option to click which schools you'd like to hear more from. But yeah, so without further ado, let's get started. Okay, so first speaking to us today is Miss Annalita Alexander, and she's from NSU.
Well, good morning, and thanks for having us. My name is Annalita Alexander, and I am the Senior Executive Director, the recruiter, better known as for Northeastern State University. Dr. Mashburn, I see, has snuck in there, and it looks like she is currently in the hospital, but she has snuck in, and so she will be joining us this morning. So, Dr. Mashburn, do you want to go ahead and speak first, since I see that you've joined?
Okay. I'll keep this brief. You can see the hospital bed. I'm getting one of those lessons nurses need too, what it's like to be on the inside of the bed rails. But NSU particularly cares about TCC students. You do quite well in our program, whether you come after you finish your associate degree or you're able to, because you have most of your gen ed completed, enter anytime after you have successfully completed the first semester of nursing classes. Basically, if I have permission to share the screen here, if the host can enable that, please.
Okay, you're good to go.
Okay.
Let me stop sharing for a minute.
When you log in to Go NSU, which is our equivalent of your MyTCC, you have the ability to access Blackboard, your degree audit, which looks very similar to your one on MyTCC. But the important thing is that you provide transcripts at the end of each semester so that both degree audits mesh. They won't automatically do that. Okay. nsuok.edu/nursing. Be sure you get the dot in the right place. Okay, that is the website for our nursing program. And we do know nursing education. We were the first RN to BSN program in the state, the first to go online. And we've been teaching exclusively online for right at 20 years now. So when COVID hit, as awful as that was, and as much turmoil as you went through, NSU kind of had a leg up when it came to that. Here's the RN to BSN program. and you can apply right there at Go Apply by filling out the NSU application for the semester in which you plan to begin NSU nursing classes. Once you apply, you need to request official transcripts from each college or university attended, other than if you've been at NSU before. Then, if you will scroll down, you will see green buttons on the left. You can read about our mission and philosophy, our end of program, student learning outcomes, where we want you to be at the end of the program. The admission requirements you've already met, that you at least be successfully enrolled in that first semester of the nursing program. Then the application procedure, after you've applied and those transcripts have been received, you will get an email or a call or a letter saying you've been admitted for spring 2021, for summer 2021, whatever. And then you scroll on down the rest of this page. It helps if you send me an unofficial transcript, then fill out the nursing supplemental form so that we know a little bit more about you and your goals. You will not be able to verify your nursing license or provide liability insurance documentation yet. But otherwise, everything in Castle Branch that you already have for TCC matches NSU's requirements. The issue is that we want TCC to see your records. We want NSU to see your records. And the way to make that happen is to contact me for a special code that will help you provide the duplicate record of your Hep B, your MMR, your TB skin test, CPR card, and everything else that you need. Then when you get to the last semester, you have just graduated from TCC, you're pending NCLEX, you will likely have 2 classes left with us, and you will need your RN license and liability insurance uploaded by the time you begin our field experience courses. We do not do clinical in the traditional sense. It is not bedside hands-on care in groups in a clinical facility with an instructor. In community and synthesis, you're working on an evidence-based practice project. You're working on a community, school, church, or civic group education process. There are 9 nursing courses. Professional nursing role is where everyone starts. I try to get all concurrent students into health assessment, maybe culture or trends as early as possible. Those benefit you while you're still at TCC the most. Then culture, family, leadership, those come along, and then you lack community and synthesis. If you have an Associate of Science pre-nursing degree to go with your Associate of Applied Science in Nursing, by the time you finish, often that will save you 6 credit hours and about $1,500 of tuition. So it's important that we work to make sure that happens while you're negotiating all of that. And keep me informed as you enroll each semester so that I know you are a concurrent student and still in good progress. And then ultimately what happens is you get to take that 30 hours from TCC and it becomes 30 hours at the 3,000 and 4,000 junior and senior level, same as if you had completed your degree from a 4-year university straight through from the very beginning. And that's how you get your BSN with us. That's pretty much my story. Contact information is provided there. We're going to have your contact information. You also will have Annalita's, and she can facilitate your process through application and enrollment up to a point. So I'm going to turn it back over to Annalita.
Hello, everyone. I'll just keep it really, really brief. Just like Dr. Mashburn said, any additional questions or concerns you do have, feel free to contact me directly, and I'll share that information with Brittany. So therefore, it'll take you right to the website to fill out the information, but then you would also have my cell phone number, and then you would also have my email address. So any additional questions or concerns or anything like that, I'll be more than happy to assist you all through the process. Thank you, Dr. Mashburn.
Thank you, Annalita.
Awesome. Thank you guys so much. Dr. Mashburn, if you don't mind ending your screen share.
There you go.
Yay, thank you. Awesome. Okay. If you have any questions for them, please feel free to put it in the chat and we will follow up with them at the end of the presentation. All right, so up next we have TCC's Nursing Director, Dr. Jenny Fields.
Are you going to put the PowerPoint up for me, Brittany?
Oh, yes.
Or do you want me to?
I got it. Okay. Sorry, I pulled it up for myself. It might be helpful if you could see it too, huh? All right, I'm sorry. There you go.
Okay, like he said, my name is Jenny Fields, and I'm the Dean at Tulsa Community College, and we're excited to tell you a little bit about our program. Oh, what happened? If you'll go to the next slide for me, Brittany. So we are an associate degree program here at Tulsa Community College. So our primary degree that we get for students who come through our nursing program is an AAS, an an Associates of Applied Science in Nursing. And that allows the student to set for the licensure exam, irregardless of which entry point you take into nursing. Everybody sets for the same licensure exam called the NCLEX, whether you graduate from an associate degree program or a bachelor's degree program. Those sets of students take the same licensure exam. And like Dr. Mashburn was saying, a lot of our students choose to be concurrent with NSU. So once you complete our program, you can go on to get your bachelor's degree, and we do encourage students to do that. There are prerequisites that happen for the nursing program, and we have 2 tracks at Tulsa Community College. We have the traditional track, which is for students who don't already hold an LPN license or paramedic registry. That's our career mobility track. So if you already have an LPN license or paramedic registry, you would qualify to go into the career mobility track. The traditional track can be completed in 5 semesters. There is a prerequisite semester, and then there are 4 semesters of nursing school. And for the career mobility track, there is 2 semesters of prerequisites and only 3 semesters of nursing school. We usually take about 80 students into our traditional track each semester and 40 students into our career mobility track each semester. And our application deadlines are for spring, our deadline is April 1st, and for fall, our deadline is September 1st. Next slide, please. Thank you. We have an admission criteria here at Tulsa Community College. We have a minimum GPA of 2.5 required, And then we also look at the students' chemistry, anatomy, physiology, and microbiology coursework to give points to assign to the ranking. We also give credit for students who are coming back to school and maybe have already completed an AA or an AS or a bachelor's or a master's. The other thing we look at is the ATITs. It is a assessment test that the student takes prior to application into the nursing program, and it gives us some information about the student. We give points for the composite score or the overall score of the T's, and then we also give some points for the reading and the math scores, because we know those scores are very predictive of how students do in the nursing program. And that's how we decide who gets ranked come into our program. Requirements for TCC are the same as for most nursing schools in the state. We require CPR. We have a list of immunizations that the students have to be current on. We do background check and a drug screen prior to coming in. And then just a friendly reminder of essential functions for nurses. Remember, we have mobility requirements, and we have hearing and visual and tactile requirements, because we have to be listening to patients' hearts and lungs. So we can't have a deficit in those areas. For example, you have to be able to carry 20 pounds or exert 50 pounds of force occasionally and be able to lift, bend, and stoop frequently. And then this is our information. You can find all of this information at tulsacc.edu/nursing. That's our nursing homepage. And our nursing office is 918-595-7075. And while we are virtual a lot of the time, we are still answering our phones, and we can do video chats or phone conversations with anybody. So don't hesitate to reach out to us if you have questions about our program.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Jenny. And if you guys have questions for Jenny or any of the other nursing directors that are here today, please feel free to drop those questions in the chat box, and we will have them answered at the end of the presentation. All right, up next we have Dr. Leanne Laubach. She is from the University of Central Oklahoma, and she's going to be talking to you about their program today.
Hello, everyone. So I am talking about the University of Central Oklahoma, and I am Dr. Leanne Laubach. I am the baccalaureate program coordinator for our traditional program. So if you'll move to that next slide. So we actually have 4 different programs that we offer here at UCO. We have the traditional baccalaureate degree, and it is 5 semesters once you've been accepted into the program. So you have to complete all your prereqs. But this particular track is for students who do not have a previous nursing degree. You can have a degree in another field. You can have your pre-nursing degree completed. But this one is specifically for those who don't have another degree and are not eligible for the other programs that we have. And this is probably our most popular program. And I think I talk about number of admissions on another slide, so I'll not talk about that yet. Our newest program is our Fast Track program. We've started a pilot program here just this semester. So we admitted 20 students this time, and we'll just see how many students apply for the next time. It is 16 months total. So students attend in the fall, the spring, the summer, and the fall, and then they're done. So this track is for students who already have a baccalaureate degree and they've decided that they want to try nursing. So this, you do have to have a non-nursing baccalaureate degree to qualify for this program. We also have our RN to BS option. It is now 100% online. And so for this particular track, you need to have an associate degree in nursing. But then you can come to us for that 100% online program. And all students who meet our minimum requirements, and I'll talk about those in a minute, are accepted into the program. So this is not competitive, whereas our other 2 programs are competitive. Once you've completed a bachelor's in nursing, we also have a master's degree in nursing, which is now 100% online. And the 2 tracks that we do for that is leadership and education. If you'll move to that next slide. So to apply to our program, you do have to complete your prerequisite courses, the university core. So if you have an Associate of Science, when you come to us, some of those classes that are in that university core are waived. If you have an AAS, our nursing advisor will work with you to help so you can maybe waive some courses, or you can just take them. The 5 science courses that we require are biology, microbiology, chemistry, anatomy, and physiology. You do have to complete a statistics class before you take your research course. So you can do that before or after you're admitted to the program. And then we require philosophy and sociology. So I have included a link to a full list of courses. So Brittany, are you able to provide the students with a copy of this? We don't need to click on that.
Yes, I can do that.
Okay, so if you'll provide, then if they want to see this is the degree sheet that I've put there.
Okay, I can do it. Thank you.
Mhm. Sorry, I had to close the door. So for students who are applying to the program, your overall GPA does need to be greater than a 2.5. When we score our applicants, we look at your retentive GPA and your last 30 GPA, and we recognize that not everyone is a stellar student when they first start going to college. And so if your last 30 is higher than your retentive, we take it. If your retentive is higher than your last 30, then we'll take that one. We also look at your science GPA. So you may not make less than a C in any science course. And if you have took the option last semester, I believe the statewide, there was an option for taking a P or an NP in your classes. If you have any science courses that you opted to take a P grade because maybe you made a C and you didn't want that to your transcript, it does need to be reverted back to that letter grade so that we can look at you, because we do have that no less than a C in any science course. We do need to make sure that you made a C or better. We also require standardized testing, and we have recently changed the way we've been doing that, and you may now only take the exam 1 time per application cycle. You can take it as many times as you like, but only once per application cycle. So if you go to that next screen. So our standardized testing is, we have been using the TEAS. As the previous speaker mentioned, the TEAS is quite predictive of your ability to do well in the nursing program, particularly that reading. So we are looking at that TEAS. Because we're using HESI products, we have moved to the HESI A2 for next semester. So if you are applying with UCO, you do need to make sure that you're taking the correct components of the HESI A2. We want you to take the anatomy and physiology, the vocabulary and reading comprehension, grammar and math, and it's actually vocabulary and general knowledge that are together, not vocabulary and reading. Reading comprehension is a separate category. Okay, next slide. So in order to apply to the university, the application process is you start by applying to the university, and I provided a link there. You then need to make an appointment with our academic advisor for nursing, Karen Davis, to review your transcript, discover which courses need to be completed or which courses will transfer. You need to apply to the program, so the nursing program, the semester before you'd like to start. Our application deadline is a rolling deadline, so instead of giving you a date, what we give you is a Friday. So the application deadline is the last Friday in January for an August start, or the second Friday in September for the January start. And I see that question, does UCO require both the TEAS and the HESI? No, it is the TEAS or the HESI. We are currently in the middle of switching between the two. So we would like the majority of students to do the HESI next semester, if possible. And so you can find our applications on I've given you the link to find the applications. I'm in the middle of transitioning us from a paper application to an online application. So depending on when you apply, you may find a paper application that you can download, or it may just be what looks like a survey link. Next question, or next slide, rather. So just so you know where you sit, our average retentive GPA is a 3.5 to a 3.65, and I'll answer your question in just a minute. Our average science GPA is also a 3.5 to a 3.65. Our average T-score is about an 82.5, and yes, we will accept a T-score from 2 years ago if you haven't retaken it. So I don't have an average on the HESI because it's new to us, and when I get that average, I'll let you know. So our number of applicants versus accepted, in the fall of 2020, we had 141 applications. We will accept 72 in our traditional program. In the spring of 20, we had 136 applications with 72 accepted. I don't have it on the slide. We accepted 20 students into our fast track program. And again, that number may or may not change depending on how many are how many apply to the program. That particular program, we only admit one time a year, and that would be in the fall. And then you can move to the next slide. So if you want to contact us, if you're interested in the traditional program, I have my email there. Karen Davis is our academic advisor for nursing for our traditional program. She's also right now advising for our fast track program. If you're interested in the fast track, you can contact Dr. Kathy Smith. If you're interested in the RN to BS option, you have the email there for Dr. Nancy Gwynn, who is the coordinator, or Miss Lindsay Berry, who is our advisor. And then our master's in nursing, Dr. Karen Vessier is in charge of that. So next slide. So does anybody have any other questions? I know I talk fast.
If it's all right, we're going to go ahead and move on to OU's presentation and let Diane speak, and then maybe wrap up with the questions.
Okay, sounds good.
Awesome, thank you. All right, so introducing to you, Miss Dr. Diane Yates. She will be representing the University of Oklahoma today.
Thank you all. I'm glad to be here with you today. I'm not doctor though. Just plain old Diane. I don't want to take credit for anything I haven't gotten yet. As I said, I am Director of Recruitment and Admissions for the College of Nursing. I'm actually housed on the Tulsa campus. We have 3 campuses for OU. Our main campus is in Oklahoma City on the Health Sciences Center. We have a location in Tulsa on the OU Tulsa Schusterman campus, which is at 41st and Yale. And then we have a campus in Lawton, which is housed on the Cameron University campus. So depending upon where you want to go, when you want to start, we have a place for you. Next slide, please. Why a Bachelor of Science in Nursing? That's the degree that, that's our nursing degree in Tulsa. Wider range of job opportunities. As things progress, I heard a statistic a few years ago that within 5 years, hospitals were no longer going to hire RNs. They were going to hire only BSNs. That has not come to be, which I think, it is something that they're working on, but it is not current. But having a BSN does allow you into areas of nursing that you might not be able to reach with just an associate degree. Obviously, higher salaries, pathways to advanced practice, DNPs, Masters of Science in Nursing, PhDs. We see more and more hospitals now that are seeking magnet status. And if they are seeking magnet status, they are required to have a certain percentage of their nurses that are BSN prepared nurses. And then I think the ultimate statistic about BSN nurses is evidence shows that there are much better patient outcomes with BSN prepared nurses. So that's, I think what all of us who might be in that hospital bed, that's what we're looking for, better patient outcomes. Next slide. Why OU Nursing? OU, we're the only nursing program that's within a comprehensive academic health system. We're only one of three in the United States that has 7 different health sciences programs within our health system. At OU, we have very high retention rates. We do not admit students with the intent to lose them. Our intent is to keep them. If we get you admitted, we want you to finish that and we want you to reach your academic goals. Small class sizes. The numbers in Oklahoma City, our traditional program, they will admit about 120. In Tulsa, we will have somewhere between around 45. In Lawton is around 30 for the traditional program. NCLEX pass rates for OU are above the state and national averages. And currently, I just put the Tulsa campus specific pass rate on there because we see most of our students that are coming into the traditional program do come from TCC. So they're local students that stay here at home, but our current pass rate is 95%. One thing that we have an opportunity, unfortunately this year because of COVID, we had to put things on hold, but we have an opportunity to study abroad in the nursing program. We have a campus in Arezzo, Italy, and Dr. Emma Kentz, who is our assistant dean for the College of Nursing on the Tulsa campus, is the director of that program. So we're hoping come next year, we can get things back up and going and COVID will calm a bit and we could head back to Italy. Another thing with OU Nursing is the opportunity for interprofessional experiences across the colleges. The OU Tulsa Schusterman campus, especially more so than Lawton or Oklahoma City, is a very community-focused campus. Our College of Medicine that's there on that campus specifically is the OU Community Medicine. And we work a lot with the other colleges. We have a strong interest in work in Bedlam clinics, which serve the underserved in the Tulsa area. And in those, our students work with other areas. They work with medical students, they work with social work students, because we understand that treating a patient is not necessarily just treating their health directly. And if they were in a hospital bed, I mean, there's lots more that go into that. Next slide. Today I'm talking just about the undergraduate opportunities we have for a BSN. We do have programs for MSN and BSN to DNP. So when you finish that BSN, you can hop right into our BSN to DNP program in either the family nurse practitioner or the clinical nurse specialist or executive leadership plans. But today I want to just talk about the program options for the BSN. Our largest program, as I said earlier, we admit about 45 as our traditional program. The majority of our students, as I said, would complete their prerequisites at TCC and come to us for the last 2 years, which would be 4 semesters. We only start this program one time a year and the application deadline is January 15th. If you are interested in this program, we're having an application workshop on November the 19th. So you can pop on over to the website and get registered for that, and we can walk you through the application process. Our accelerated BSN is for those students who have non-nursing baccalaureate degrees. They may have worked in another field and decided they wanted to come back to nursing. So this is a 14-month program. We began in June, and the students literally go straight through and graduate the end of July in the next year. So it's very rigorous, full focus program. We're one of a few programs in the country that have an LPN to BSN program. You can either start, it can either be a 2, 3, or 4 semester, depending upon when you start, spring or fall. The application deadline for spring is October 15th and April 1st for the spring. RN to BSN. RN to BSN is also a 2, 3, or 4 semester, same deadlines as the LPN to BSN. This program is completely online. The LPN program, we will have, you will have some clinical hours that you are required to do. They're mostly in the leadership field. You're going to be, working in various agencies around the city. But those are program options that we have for the BSN. Okay, next slide. Here are our prerequisites. Now, I put this up here and I didn't designate, for those of you that are going to have an associate degree, there are a few of these that we'll be happy to get rid of for you. So this is just for our traditional program, and you can see these here. Most everyone, if you finish TCC with an associate degree in arts or associate in science, those general education requirements over on the right-hand side, the 1 through 4, those are waived. The number 5 is an upper division course, and we do, that is not waived unless you have a bachelor's degree. But we look at the 4 sciences also: chemistry, microbiology, anatomy, and physiology, and you can see the other prerequisites that are noted above. Our program is a 127-hour program. 67 hours of prerequisites is what you come with. For our traditional program, it's a 60-hour program. For our LPN and RN to BSN programs, we give you 30 hours of credit in other manners. For an LPN, we give you 30 hours of credit after you pass 4 NLN exams. You can take those exams as many times as you wish, as long as you, when you get to a 70% passing score. On the RN to BSN, we're going to give you credit for that RN that you already hold. So no tests, no entrance exams. We're just going to give you 30 hours of credit, and you're going to come to us and finish an additional 30 hours. Next slide. Our application is a 2-step application. We have a NursingCast application. This is a centralized application service. And then we also have our OU supplemental application. As I mentioned earlier, we're having an application workshop on November the 19th. We'd be happy to help you through that. What does it take to get into OU nursing? For the most part, our programs, with the exception of LPN and RN to BSN, are competitive programs. For the traditional program, we look at a cumulative GPA. For the accelerated program, we look at a last 60 GPA. That is also where we go for the degree completion, which is our LPN to RN and RN to BSN programs, the last 60 hours. Strong science GPAs for all the 4 sciences that I mentioned earlier: anatomy, physiology, microbiology, and chemistry. And we take all attempts at those courses. The minimum GPA for consideration is a 2.5, and you need to have as many prerequisites complete as possible. I do want to make a note on this, and that we are, before I forget this, other than the LPN, there are no entrance exams of any type that we require for admissions. But as you go to our website and look out there, I would encourage you to keep watching. We are looking at moving towards a more holistic type of admissions. We're going to look at more than just grades. We've found, as medicine has, a few years ago, that, being a good nurse is more than just being, having those super stellar grades. We want a person out there that, is compassionate, is caring. Yes, academically, you can do the work, but there's more to being a good nurse than, having a, 3.5 GPA. So pay attention to those admissions requirements, because they are going to be changing just a little bit, and we're going to look at that person that's involved in their community, and and can bring that part of it to the bedside. If you want to go ahead and go to that next slide, I have Karen Mitchell's contact information here. She's our student program coordinator in Tulsa. There is my information and the website. I would encourage you, if you are interested in the program, to have a transcript evaluation completed, and you can send either an official or an unofficial transcript to Karen. She will get that completed for you, or myself, either one, and we'll get it back to you, and we'll tell you just exactly what prerequisites you might be needing for the program. Thank you.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Diane. All right, before we move on to the next presenter, if you haven't already, please make sure that you do the survey that is in the chat. That just lets you check in and lets us know you're here. It also gets a great opportunity for you to select what schools you want to hear more from, so that they can follow up with you after this presentation, just in case you don't get your questions answered, or if you have more questions after. All right, so coming up next, we have Miss Brandy Molinax and Rebecca Inman representing RSU Nursing's program.
Hi everyone, this is Brandy Molinax. I am the pre-nursing advisor here at RSU. And then I also have, so we're going to kind of co-present here. So I'm going to go over all of the pre-aspects of the program. And then I'll let Rebecca introduce herself. She's going to go over the actual nursing program portion. You there, Rebecca?
Oh, yes. Hi, I'm Rebecca. I'm one of the Rebecca Inman. I am one of the nursing instructors with Rogers State University.
All right. So we, similar to OU, we do have several different types of BSN programs. We no longer do the associate RN or ADN program. We phased that out a few years ago. And like someone else had mentioned, a lot of hospitals and other locations are gearing more towards BSN versus RN. So we have done that with our program as well. So we have 3 different types of BSN programs. We have what we call a traditional BSN. We have an LPN paramedic bridge to BSN, and we have an RN to BSN. So the main ones we're going to cover here are those 2 traditional pathways. But I'm also later in this slide, I'll give you some contact information for the RN to BSN as well. So just kind of a generic overview, our traditional program works as a 2-and-2 structure. So you do your first 2 years are general education and prerequisite courses. And then the next 2 years are your actual nursing program courses. We do not require TEAS test, letters of recommendation, CNA, nothing like that. We just need your prereqs done, and you just need to make good grades in your prereqs for ranking. And we'll go over ranking a little bit more in detail later. The bridge program, if you have an LPN or paramedics license already, or by the time your program is going to start, then you can go that pathway, and we'll talk like specifics for that as well in a minute. The TCC AS pre-nursing degree works perfect with our program. I've got another slide in here that's going to go over that, but it works really, really well with our prereqs. There's usually just like 1 class that you need after you finish that. So my contact information is on this slide. I'm happy to do transcript evaluations or answer questions or anything you want as far as like how to apply for the program, where you're at with the program, all that good stuff. So feel free to email me. You can just shoot over. It can be an unofficial transcript if you want. You can meet with me in person, however you want to work it. But we will be happy to help you out. So we're just going to go through the degree plans and the ranking and that kind of thing, and kind of show you what we're looking at. Okay, so this is our semester to semester plan for our traditional BSN. So you'll notice at the top it says program prerequisites. That's your 2 years of prereqs. Again, that follows almost hand in hand with TCC's pre-nursing program. It's mostly gen eds. You've got your sciences scattered in. You've got a dev sci. Some schools call it lifespan. There's a few things that are a little, like intro to nursing is usually the only thing you have left if you do your AS pre-nursing at TCC. And that one, so typically what we do is we say, like if you were going to apply for the fall 2021 program, you would need to have all your prerequisites done by the end of the spring 2021 semester. We do make one exception to that, and that is intro to nursing. And that's pretty much specifically for transfer students. We do allow other students to do it as well. But that's so that if you're transferring over to us, say you're finishing out your degree in the spring and you're going to transfer straight into our program, you can actually take intro to nursing in the summer. And that way you can already know if you're in the program or not by the time you start the class. Rebecca, you want to maybe mention a few of the things they'll do once they get into the program?
Yes, so once you start into the program, your first 2 semesters are your junior year. In your very first semester, you'll come in and take pharmacology, fundamentals of nursing, and health assessment and promotion. Fundamentals of nursing has clinical hours and a lab requirement. So I'm actually the lab instructor for fundamentals. And you simultaneously, while you're going to clinicals, you're coming to lab and you're learning these skills to go out into clinical and apply the skills. Health assessment also has a lab component, and it just teaches you how to perform a thorough head-to-toe assessment. That second semester, you will take medical surgical nursing 1, patho, which is completely online, mental health nursing, and contemporary nursing practice. Also, that pharmacology is one of our online courses. Your last 2 semesters are your senior year, and your senior year you will take your med-surg nursing 2, nursing roles, and then nursing care of the child and family. Your final semester, you will take a management class, critical care class, which I'm the instructor of the critical care class, so we'll get to see each other, and then evidence-based practice and professional roles.
All right, if you don't mind going to the next slide. And someone had mentioned in the chat about Kim, we're going to get to what transfers over in just a bit. We've got a slide coming up on that. So this is that if you have that LPN or your paramedics license. So it's essentially the same as the traditional, but you'll notice those yellow highlighted classes. You're going to get out about 20 credit hours of coursework via advanced standing credit because of your licensure. So you don't need the intro to nursing prereq. The rest of the prereqs are the same. And you get out of that first semester of the nursing program. So instead of starting in the fall, then you'll start in the spring. And then you've got 3 semesters, you get your RN, your BS at the same time with that one. So a lot of people choose to do this if you want to go ahead and start working a little earlier. You do normally have to go to a tech school for those. There are a few scattered programs that still have an LPN or paramedic at a university or college level, but most of them are tech schools. So one thing to be wary of if you do this track is tech classes, the specific classes, they don't transfer over to RSU. So your licensure clears out courses and stuff, but like say you took Comp 1 at a tech, that course wouldn't transfer over. So you do have to be a little bit careful on those. Just make sure you work with your advisor there and here if you're going to transfer and do that. But you're more than welcome to. It's a good program. We have less people apply for it each year, so it's a little less competitive. We do have one extra requirement on it. So traditional BSN, your requirements is we need a reading score. It can be your ACT, it can be AccuPlacer, it can be Nelson Denny. If you have a bachelor's degree, it waives it. But as long as you have some sort of passing reading score, you're good on that requirement. You do have to have at least a 2.5 prereq GPA. So the prereq GPA are only the courses listed on here as a prereq. It's not your overall GPA. And that prereq GPA only includes your most recent grades. So say 10 years ago, you were here, you took Comp 1, didn't do so great, but you took it again last year. We're going to take your most recent grade. So it's going to completely replace your old grade for your prereq GPA. We do have to have at least a C or above in all of those classes. Typically, on average, you want at least a 3.2 prereq GPA to be competitive. 3.5 and above is a good spot. 3.2, you're still pretty competitive. Depending on the year, it's not that you can't get in if you don't have a 3.2 GPA at all. That's not what it means, but that is just kind of the general GPA people get in is a 3.2 or higher. The TOEFL score is only for international students. We do require a little bit higher than our normal admissions requirement for international students. So that's where you'll see that TOEFL score requirement on there. The one difference in entrance stuff between the traditional and the bridge is we do also require a NACE 1 exam for the LPN paramedic bridge program. That's basically a fundamentals of nursing test. We used to do a bridge class, and this is just a lot cheaper and less time requirement for you guys. So we ended up switching the class over to a test. So that is the one additional thing you need for the bridge program. You want to go on to the next one? All right. So here's where you're asking your questions about what transfers. This is our TCC equivalency chart. So it has everything you need for what classes are in our system for the course codes at your school that will transfer over to our school. You'll notice those yellow highlighted ones. If you get your associate's degree, your pre-nursing one over there, it automatically waives those classes. So you don't have to worry about those transferring directly or not. Like I don't think TCC usually requires you to take speech. So if you get your associate there, you don't have to take speech. One thing that we get a lot of questions on is chemistry. You do have to take TCC's general chem to transfer over for our general chem. The principles of chem will not transfer. There may be some program changes in the future, but for now, that's what we're going with. There's a few things going through curriculum, but we'll let you guys know whenever something like that happens. But for now, principles of chem will not transfer, general chem will. For the most part, TCC transfers over super well. We get so many TCC transfers, we don't even need to look in the catalog. We can just see your transcript and know what comes over. So it's a really easy, seamless process to transfer over from TCC. And again, especially if you've got that degree. Another good thing about the degree is part of our ranking, and we'll get to that in a sec, is you get some bonus points if you have a degree. So if you're applying for the fall 2021 program and you are graduating this December from TCC with your associate, just make sure you wait to apply until your degree is conferred in December. And that way we can give you your bonus points for having your degree. If you're going to graduate in May 2021, just make sure whenever you fill out your application, you get a letter from your TCC advisor saying, yes, so-and-so is on track to graduate in spring 2020 with this degree. And that way we can still give you your bonus points, and we'll just double check it at the end of the spring semester to make sure you actually got it. Let's see, there's one other question here. So I will get to the RN to BSN question in just a sec. Okay, so you can go ahead and go to the next slide. So this is our ranking system. Like many other people had said with their programs, we did a big eval on what courses ended up being better later, that were kind of indicators of success later, that kind of thing. And that's how we created this program. So we do have 6 main courses we look at. So ranking criteria number 1, you've got Gen Cell Bio, TCC calls it bio for majors, anatomy, Gen Chem, college algebra, developmental psych, and nutrition. So those are your big ones. Those have a lot of points attached to them. If at all possible, you want to get them done before ranking starts. So ranking usually takes place like starting February 2nd. So basically you want to try to get those done in the fall if possible, if you're applying for the next fall. Not the end of the world if not, you just lose some points that way. The next category is prerequisite GPA. So those points basically go down to each category. And again, that's only your prereq classes and only your most recent grades. We do have a category where you get some extra points for taking those classes at RSU. You get a point apiece for those. And that's where having that degree from TCC can help make up for some of those points, because it kind of can balance it out a little bit more again. We do, if you're not super close to your degree yet, what some TCC students will also do is take most of your classes at TCC, but you might take a couple of those classes at RSU and do concurrent enrollment. And that way you're getting your TCC degree and you're getting the RSU points. So you're kind of getting best of both worlds there. And then the final category, we call them tiebreaker points because they're not worth near as much as the other categories, but they're just kind of just in case we've got people who are on the same point level, that we've got like 552s or something like that. These break it up a little bit. So instead of being worth maybe 5 or 6 points, they're worth maybe 0.75. So psych, comp 1, microbiology, and stats will be those 4 that have a little bit of extra oomph to them. Any other course that's a prereq class just gets filtered in your GPA without any extra weight to them. We do have a lot of questions because of all the COVID craziness. And I know a lot of schools did the P option for spring. So a lot of people have wondered how that factors into ranking. If it is not a weighted class, basically the P just gets taken out of your GPA. So it kind of helps your GPA overall. If it is a weighted class, it does get counted as a C. And that's just because, and then that's the same with AP classes and stuff like that. Because we can't determine the actual grade, they just kind of go to the average. So it hits at a C. someone did just ask about the extra points. So yeah, you do get 2 extra points for getting a degree. So as long as you have and it has to be an AA, AS, BA, BS, and applied science wouldn't count, but the rest of the degrees do count, as long as you're going to have it finished by the end of the spring semester before you start the program. All right, next slide. Okay, so just kind of a little bit on the application process, and then we're going to briefly go over the RN to BSN program. So in order to apply for our program, it is a 2-step process. You apply to RSU, just general admission stuff, and then you'll also have the nursing application. So the nursing application for the traditional program will pop up November 1st. You just have to have done by February 1st. There's not like a line if you do it November 1st or February 1st. You don't get any benefit or anything or points deducted or anything like that. Just make sure you get it in before February 1st. The bridge program, since it starts in the spring, it's going to be June through October 1. So we've actually already passed our deadline for the bridge for this spring, but it'd be the same dates for next year. All right, so I do not advise for the RN to BSN program, but I have included some contact information for that program. Dr. Marla Smith is our main professor, and then Bobby Gill is our main advisor for that program. So they can answer any questions you might have on that, but just kind of in a general sense. Our RN to BSN program is fully online now. This program is if you get your RN licensure at TCC or anywhere else, and you want to go ahead and come back and finish your BSN. That's what this one is. It's a completion program. This one is not a competitive program. As long as you've got your licensure, you're good to go. It's going to have really similar courses that were listed on the traditional, but it's a little bit different. So, for example, I do believe that they will allow you to use principles of chem for RN to BSN. You want to double check with Bobby, but you can use any physical science for that category. So I'm pretty sure you can filter in your principles of chem for that one. Everything's available online for it. So they've got a couple other variances from the traditional, but a lot of the coursework's the same. You still have to have developmental psych, statistics, that kind of thing. That program does start every fall or spring. You can start either one. And then once you start, it's a 3-semester program. So you can do fall, spring, summer, fall, however you want to work it is completely fine. It's a really relaxed program. And you can do your extra classes, so that stats and dev sci and that kind of thing. You can do it before, during, or after your actual program classes. So it's very flexible. It's built around a working individual who has an RN licensure. So it's a pretty chill program, but if you're interested in that one, please contact Dr. Smith or Bobby and they will help you out. So that kind of encompasses the pre part of it. Rebecca is going to go on and let you know about our actual nursing program stuff.
Well, I have a long-standing history with RSU. I attended first and got my associates with RSU and went back and got my BSN with RSU. I love everything about it. I can truly say I feel like it's such a family environment. My instructors were always so supportive. I actually lost my father in nursing school, and such a difficult time to lose a family member. My instructors and everyone there were just fantastic, so supportive, just really helped to uplift you and get you through everything. We have a proven track of success. It's a great program. Again, faculty who put students first. I can't reiterate that enough. Just as coming from a student standpoint, they were so supportive, always there. Any questions I needed, they're just excellent. We have small class sizes, and about 50% of our students will graduate debt-free. We're ACEN accredited and have been established since 1892. So you can go to the next slide, please. So we have 4 classes that are completely online. One of those classes is that first semester of nursing school that you'll come into. It's your pharmacology class. It just kind of helps you have that extra flexibility. In your second semester, you will have another online class, and that is your patho course. And then in your senior year, you will have professional nursing roles and contemporary nursing, which are online. Our online instructors of these programs or of these classes are excellent to really communicate with you, and it's not a class you would feel kind of left out of. They communicate with you very well. You can always pop in and see them in their office. They're on campus available. We have a wide variety of clinical rotations. We do OB, newborn, pediatrics, med-surg, mental health, community nursing. We go to all major hospitals, St. Francis, St. John's, Hillcrest, OSU Medical Center. We also go to St. John's Owasso and Bailey's, and Jane Phillips in Bartlesville and Claremore Hillcrest. Simulation's probably one of our funnest things we'll do. Simulation, we have an excellent lab, and our simulation instructor is Mrs. Ball. She is fantastic. She's great about really implementing situations to let you react with your critical thinking skills. It's very fun. And we have lots of support services that can help you. Along with your faculty members being really supportive in there for you, we have tons of other resources on campus that are available to you. Next slide, please. This top picture is actually in my class when I graduated. And the bottom right-hand side, that's Mrs. Ball. She's your simulation instructor. We both did our associates and bachelors with RSU, and then came back to teach with RSU. So if that doesn't just tell you how much we love it, I don't know what does. It's a fantastic program. I can't say it enough. Excellent faculty members, and it's just a wonderful place. So thank you so much for listening.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Rebecca and Brandy. Thank you too. Now we're going to go ahead and move to our question and answer part. Before we do, I just want to remind you, if you haven't already, please make sure that you sign in that link that's in the chat. It's not really a survey. It takes maybe less than 10 seconds. We just want to know your name and what other schools you're interested in. That way we can connect you with them after the presentation. You can get the information you need if you have any additional questions or want to follow up about something. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and stop sharing my screen with you guys. For those of you, let me go ahead and check the chat right quick. Do we have any questions in the chat? Let's see. All right, and also if you want to unmute yourself or ask a question, they're ready and willing to talk with you. Or if you want to put it in the chat, that's okay too.
So yes, for our application deadline. So the current process we're in right now would be April 1st would be the next deadline. So you would apply for April 1st to start in the fall. And then if you were interested in starting in the spring, you would apply by September 1st to start in the next spring. So if I apply first in April 1 of 2021, I would start in fall of 21. Did that answer your question? And all of our application is online.
It did. Thank you very much. I assumed that you were talking about that, but I wanted to make that clear.
Perfect. And if you have any questions, don't hesitate to call our office. We'll be happy to walk you through it.
Thank you.
So for scrubs at Tulsa Community College, we require navy blue scrubs, straight leg, pretty standard. So we do not expire our classes. We recommend that they are in the last 5 years, but they do not expire at Tulsa Community College.
And that is something I should have mentioned with ours. Ours does have a 10-year expiration. based on when you start the program. So example, if you were going to start in fall 2021, you would have needed to had your classes by 2011. We do have an appeal process if it was before then. So you write an appeal letter to our board saying, hey, we've got, I took this class in this year, it's this much expired, but I've done this in the workforce, and so I still have knowledge of the course, or I've taken this many science classes since then. Anything you can think of that would be a reason why we would grant an extension. So sometimes they do, sometimes they don't. It just depends on the individual situation. But yeah, so it's 10 years.
Caroline, RSU also requires navy blue scrubs, no cargo pants, the straight legs, similar to TCC.
I'm currently only in my first semester of pre-nursing, so I'll finish in the spring, at the end of the spring 2021. How would that affect any application to an RN or a BSN program for the schools?
So for Tulsa Community College, there's certain courses that are prerequisites to the program. So as long as you were either enrolled in those or had those finished at the time of application, you could make application and try to rank into the program. So that sheet that I showed you that's on our website has all of the ways that we give points towards the admission process. So it doesn't keep you from applying as long as you have the ones that are required before you start.
This is Diane from OU. Our requirement is all prerequisites would be completed prior to the time of enrollment. So you could be in progress at the time of application, and that is not anything to worry about as long as they're complete by the time you would begin.
So RSUs is really similar. So as long as you were going to finish them all, say so if you're going to finish your prerequisite courses by the end of spring 2021, you could apply for our fall 2021 program. So they can still be in progress as long as you're going to get them completed. We will go back and double check and make sure you actually passed them. But yeah, as long as they're going to be completed by the end of that spring, you'd be good for the fall.
And UCO is the same as long as because we've got a 5-semester program and our first class is a 7-hour class, and we understand that students need to be 12-hour students. There are some classes that you can have outstanding during that first semester. You do have to have everything completed prior to the junior 1 semester. So you start as a sophomore and then you continue on as a junior 1. So everything except statistics needs to be completed prior to that junior 1 semester. But you just have to be careful with which classes you're taking with that 7-hour Foundations of Nursing class, because you don't want two really hard classes the same semester.
Hello, and this is Analita with Northeastern State University. So basically, we don't require any prerequisites. Our prerequisites can be taken concurrently while you're in the program. So we don't require you to have any of those, what they call prerequisite courses, completed prior to starting the program.
Okay, great. Thank you very much.
All right, Diana, there looks like there is a question for you in the chat. They want to know, is there a specific color of scrubs that are required for your program?
Well, those scrub companies do not cooperate very well. Of course, we would like them to have a crimson colored scrub, but they just don't do that. So as close as we can get is a wine color. So that's what our students wear.
Awesome, thank you. And I know that as an advisor, there was always a question about the upper division humanities course. You might have talked about that during your presentation. Is there?
Our program requires a 3,000, 4,000 level upper division classified as general education. Now, our campus in Tulsa, most of the programs in Tulsa are bachelor's level and above. Nursing is only one of 2 bachelor's programs that we have. So we've got doctoral programs there. We find, so we don't offer a course that will meet that requirement specifically for OU in Tulsa. Our students, we have courses at OSU Tulsa we send them to NSU. There's online courses at University of Arkansas. And as I noted on the prerequisites, we can use those courses for multiple degrees. If it's classified as a non-Western course, there's a class at NSU and OSU Tulsa that meets 3 requirements. So you can check off 3 things at the same time. So that is one difference. We wish they could kind of get rid of that requirement, but it's not something that the Regents will give one right now. But you would have to get that somewhere other than TCC.
Awesome, thank you. What other
Diane,
questions do we have? Oh, sorry.
Sorry, I actually have a question for Diane. Some of our students also look at applying there, and I was wondering for that class, like we have a 3,000 level minority groups, a 3,000 level comparative religion, that kind of thing. It counts as a global study general education class here. Does that count for your requirement as well?
It would. I would have to double check. Usually anything along those lines are going to work for that upper division course, because most of those would be considered non-Western culture that we require. So we could use that, but we'll double or triple dip. Usually if they're coming from NSU or RSU, we can kind of find something in there because you guys, do offer those courses in the area. We just don't want to send people to, nothing against TU, but that tuition to, for that type of course is not where we want to send students. But yes, there will be things at RSU we can find for you.
Okay, thank you.
Awesome, thank you guys so much. Is there any other questions that you might have for our panel? Any concerns maybe? I know with this world we're living in right now, it's kind of different. So there's a lot of different ways to navigate things. So if there's any concerns you might have applying to the program, that's also something they might be able to address. Awesome. Thank you so much, Erin. You had some really great questions. And to the other people who have asked questions today, super great. I'm going to make sure that I include these questions when I send out the email with the recording, just so that you can see if if there's any questions that you had that were answered. But yeah. So a little bit about me before we go, if no one else has any questions or concerns. Like I said, I'm with Career Services. We offer a variety of services from career exploration to maybe doing a mock interview or jazzing up your resume. We also do in-class presentations, and we are in the process of launching our professional clothing closet. It's by appointment only right now, but please let me know if there's anything I can do to help. Thank you guys so much for joining us today. I'm going to drop the link to the survey one more time. And like I said earlier, it's really not a survey. It's just a way for you guys to check in. That way we can, one, note that you attended, and 2, get more information to you from the schools that you're interested in. And they'll kind of reach out to you after this presentation. But again, thank you so much for joining. Here is the survey, survey but not survey. But yeah, so if you guys don't mind filling that out, if you haven't already, we will let you go. Enjoy this, I don't know if it's beautiful, but wonderful Monday. Unless any of our panelists have any last remarks. Anybody? All right. Thank you guys so much. Have a great rest of your day.
Thank you for having us.